10 years ago, a mysterious event changed the world as humanity's connection to other dimensions opened up. People began to refer to these newfound portals as gates, often comparing them to dungeons due to the various monsters that emerged. Alongside these gates, a new breed of individuals emerged, known as hunters. These hunters possessed unique abilities, and their purpose was to explore these gates and combat the threats that lay within. Our protagonist, Sung Jin-woo, finds himself in the ranks of the hunters as an E-rank hunter. He often mocks himself, feeling embarrassed about his low ranking. Not only does he frequently get injured, but he also teeters on the edge of death to cover his mother's exorbitant hospital bills. With no other marketable skills, becoming a hunter becomes his only option. The E-rank dungeons represent the lowest level instances. Most individuals typically tackle them solo, without the need for a healer. However, as you might expect, Sung Jin-woo finds himself battered and bruised in an E-ranked dungeon, earning him the title of the weakest hunter among humans. At the entrance of one such dungeon, a group of hunters, including Sung Jin-woo, assembles to organize a raid. Participating in such raids provides an opportunity to earn some extra income. The team is led by a hunter named Song Chi-yul, and a healer named Lee Ju-hee is also part of the group. In total, 17 hunters embark on this mission. As a brilliant blue light flashes, the hunters enter the dungeon, employing their unique skills to eliminate the monsters within. These monsters drop valuable magic crystal stones, sought after for acquiring weapons or exchanging for currency during their rest periods. During the exploration, someone stumbles upon a hidden entrance, which leads to the legendary Double Dungeon. The difficulty of this Double Dungeon remains unknown, leading to a debate among the team members. Team leader Song suggests a vote on whether to enter. When the votes are evenly split, Sung Jin-woo, the last to cast his vote, makes the decisive choice to enter. He has no other option, as his sister's tuition and his mother's medical bills hang in the balance. For his family, he chooses to push himself to the limit. Upon opening the massive double dungeon door, the group finds themselves in a mysterious palace. An eerie atmosphere prevails as they encounter a row of gigantic stone statues, each holding weapons or musical instruments. The most peculiar statue is the one at the center, adorned with a crown. Next to the statues, a stone tablet explains the dungeon's rules. First, worship the god. Second, praise the god. Third, prove your faith. It sternly warns that those who violate these rules will not leave the place alive. Suddenly, the room's door slams shut, and someone attempts to force it open, resulting in a gruesome outcome as the nearest giant statue raises its spear and cleaves the person in half. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. What manhwa has a good concept? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now, back to the recap. Panic and caution grip the group, but at that very moment, the crown-adorned statue's eyes emit a deadly laser, instantly killing half of the team, including Song, who loses an arm due to his inability to dodge in time. In this dire situation, Sung Jin-woo recalls the rules on the stone tablet about worshipping the god. It becomes evident that the god within the dungeon demands everyone to kneel and worship, as their lives now hang in the balance. As the group kneels and worships with unwavering devotion, the crown-adorned statue displays a contented smile. However, at this critical juncture, the seated crown statue rises to its immense height, casting a suffocating pressure upon them. The statue steadily advances toward the group step by step, and the dire realization sets in that if they can't find the right solution, everyone will meet their end within this mysterious dungeon. Despite following the dungeon's rule of praising the god, the other statues continue their relentless approach. In a moment of desperation, Sung Jin-woo shouts out the second rule, urging them to praise the god quickly. A priest among the group steps forward, using his expertise in flattery to lavish colorful praise upon the god, leaving everyone in awe. However, before the priest can finish speaking, the statue mercilessly crushes him underfoot. It becomes clear that this kind of verbal praise holds no power, and panic sets in as the statues close in. Meanwhile, the other statues in the room come to life and begin their assault. In the midst of the chaos, Jin-woo notices that the statues holding instruments remain passive. He quickly instructs everyone to run towards these statues for safety. Those who reach the instrument-holding statues find themselves unharmed, and as they continue their desperate escape, the statues holding instruments start playing music, creating a protective barrier. Cursing their lack of speed, Sung Jin-woo pulls Jo-hee towards a statue holding a drum, hoping for safety. However, this particular statue doesn't play music. They hurriedly move to another statue. Jin-woo makes a fatal mistake, sliding towards a shield-bearing statue, confusing it for one holding an instrument. The shield statue raises its shield and smashes it down on Jin-woo, severing his right leg. Ignoring the excruciating pain, Jin-woo crawls to a safe statue where only 6 people remain, all injured. The statues show no mercy and deny them any respite. Suddenly, with a deafening rumble, an altar drops into the hall, initiating the third challenge, Prove Your Faith. As the group comprehends the situation, they realize that one person must be sacrificed willingly for the rest to survive. But who among them would volunteer to make such a selfless sacrifice? The hunters cautiously approach the altar, their eyes fixed on each other, knowing that as long as they watch one another, the statues won't move. The tension mounts as they cling to this fragile thread of hope. However, the blue flames around the altar begin to dwindle, ominously counting down. Nobody knows what will happen when the countdown reaches 0. Under immense psychological pressure, someone finally breaks, succumbing to the overwhelming fear and despair. Ignoring the desperate pleas of their companions, they dash madly towards the open door to freedom, taking a gamble that could either lead to salvation or doom them all. Surprisingly, the person who ran towards the door manages to make it out completely before it closes, albeit only partially. The group now looks at each other with a growing sense of fear, afraid that they might be too slow and get trapped as well. However, Sung Jin-woo remembers that the rules on the stone tablet haven't been completed, making it impossible for everyone to leave alive. He desperately tries to convince the others that the door is just an illusion, and that their only chance of survival is by completing all the rules. As the unknown countdown continues, and the grim reality of life and death hangs heavily over them, the dark side of human nature rears its head. One by one, the hunters abandon the altar, running towards the door. Now, only 3 remain: Jin-woo, Mr. Song, and Ju-hee. They struggle to keep their eyes on the statues from all angles, and the outcome appears inevitable. Mr. Song makes a selfless decision to stay behind, urging Ju-hee to help Jin-woo leave. However, Ju-hee is already exhausted from treating Jin-woo's injuries and can barely move her arms or legs. In this dire moment, Jin-woo makes a heart-wrenching choice. He instructs Mr. Song to carry Ju-hee and run, fully aware that if he sacrifices himself, it's the best outcome for these vulnerable people. Mr. Song looks at Jin-woo with a newfound respect, no longer filled with contempt, but instead affirming him as a man. Carrying Ju-hee, he rushes out through the stone door, leaving Jin-woo alone on the altar, determined to take at least one statue down with him. The statue raises a sharp blade, piercing through Jin-woo's chest, lifting him up and placing him on the altar. In his final moments, Jin-woo shouts in anger and despair, "I don't want to die." Just as the statue is about to deliver the final blow to Jin-woo, a system notification appears before his eyes, freezing everything around him. The notification presents a life or death question. You have completed all the necessary requirements of the secret quest, Courage of the Weak. You have earned the right to become a player. Will you accept? You do not have much time remaining. If you refuse, your heart will stop approximately 0.02 seconds later. Will you accept? Faced with this critical decision, Jin-woo chooses to become a player, and words appear before his eyes in a flash of golden light. Suddenly, he finds himself lying in a hospital bed, questioning if it was all a dream. Everything felt so real, and his previously severed leg is now completely healed. At that moment, 2 agents from the Korean Hunters Association's monitoring division arrived to perform a mana test on him. It turns out that awakened hunters have a very small chance of receiving a second awakening, and the agents believe Jin-woo might have undergone this second awakening since he survived such a treacherous dungeon. With a nervous heart, Jin-woo places his hand on the mana testing device, revealing a shocking number, 10. Even the weakest E-rank hunters typically have a mana level of around 70. Jin-woo maintains his title as the weakest, and the monitoring division loses interest in him. However, Jin-woo soon discovers that no one else can see the system interface that has appeared before him. He also finds daily tasks within the system, with a cool name, Path of the Strong. The task content is even more terrifying. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and running 10 kilometers. Sung Jin-woo couldn't help but wonder if he was on the path to becoming a superhero like Saitama, as he faced this seemingly extreme training regimen. However, he decided to sleep on it, not realizing that there were penalties for failing the daily tasks set by the system. To his astonishment, Jin-woo soon found out that the punishment for failing the tasks was far from a joke. He was abruptly teleported to a scorching desert, and a colossal creature, giant centipede, appeared before him. Fortunately, Jin-woo had the advantage of his newfound cheat-like ability. In a split second, he made a life-saving decision and sprinted through the desert for 4 grueling hours. When he returned to his hospital room, he was covered in sand. Had he been even a moment later, they might have started filming a movie about him. Through this experience, Jin-woo began to realize the power of the system interface. Completing the daily tasks not only rewarded him, but also allowed him to upgrade his attributes using the system. After a few days of hard work, Jin-woo examined a drop-class dungeon key in his hand, contemplating the results of his recent training. Player Jin-woo had reached level 1, possessing 100 GP, 19 strength, and various other stats. He decided to test his newfound abilities and see if he could solo clear a dungeon, all while pondering whether these force tasks could genuinely make him stronger. In the dungeon, the system informed him that he could only return to reality by either defeating the dungeon boss or using the return crystal, leaving him no way to escape danger should he encounter it. Lost in thought at the bottom of the staircase, Jinwoo hesitated. After a prolonged inner struggle, he reluctantly pressed forward. As he descended further into the dungeon, foul odor greeted him. Just as he barely dodged the sudden attack of a beast-like magical creature, Jinwoo realized the gravity of his situation. Couldn't afford to squander the second chance he had been granted. As he skillfully dodged, he began to notice subtle changes in his body. He felt an awakening with newfound strength. He delivered 2 powerful punches. However, to his disappointment, the damage inflicted was barely anything. Jinwoo knew that there was a long journey ahead to unlock the true potential of his newfound powers. Sung Jinwoo quickly realized that his fists alone wouldn't be enough to deal significant damage to the creatures in the dungeon. Desperation took over, and he summoned the system's item list, pulling out the only weapon available, a sword. Though he wasn't entirely sure why it was there was no time to ponder. He swiftly finished off the monster in front of him and discovered that the sword had belonged to Mr. Kim. The system also notified him that with each level up, all his attributes would increase by 1 point. As more creatures attacked, Jinwoo, who had previously experienced the terrifying pressure of the stone statues, found these monsters to be relatively weaker and showed no mercy. He went on a rampage, continuously killing monsters, leveling up and delving deeper into the dungeon. After reaching level 15, he could clearly feel himself growing stronger. He also learned how to gauge the threat level of monsters. If the system displayed a monster's name in white, it posed no threat, and he could attack without hesitation. If it was in orange, the monster was of equal strength. However, if it appeared in red, the system advised him to run away without looking back. Finally, he arrived at the boss room. Without hesitation, he decided to proceed. However, the boss attacked, sending Jinwoo flying with a single hit, and his sword shattered due to insufficient durability. Clutching the broken sword, he stared at the orange-named creature, the serpent swamp ruler, Blue Poison Fang's Kasaka. As the serpent approached, a fierce battle was about to begin. Jinwoo recalled the moment with the stone statues and understood that only power could ensure survival in this world of the strong preying on the weak. Determined to become stronger to better protect himself and his family, Jinwoo charged at the serpent and grabbed it without a weapon. He decided to use his hands as his primary weapons, investing all his attribute points in strength. With a mighty blow, he defeated the serpent, which collapsed in defeat. Jinwoo leveled up 3 times in a row, reaching level 18. He even obtained a more powerful weapon than the previous sword, a C-class dagger, along with a purified venom. Collapsing on the ground, panting heavily, Jinwoo savored the exhilaration of solo leveling for the first time. He could feel himself getting stronger as the system sent a notification that the dungeon had reverted to normal. However, Jinwoo's moment of triumph was interrupted by a soldier who informed him that nearby monsters had entered the real world through a portal, and hunter support was urgently needed. Jinwoo had just tasted the power he desired, but now he faced a new challenge, as his newfound strength was needed to protect not only himself, but also the world from this emerging threat. As Jinwoo's level continued to increase, he clearly sensed the presence of the ultimate boss in the distance. It was time to test his newfound strength against the formidable blue glowing stone golem. Even a B-rank healer in the city couldn't defeat the golem. With a casual gesture, Jinwoo threw his damaged sword at the stone golem, instantly defeating the boss. The golem crumbled to the ground before the other hunters could react. Jinwoo wasted no time and swiftly left the scene, mindful of keeping the secret of his leveling up hidden. After his return from the dungeon, Jinwoo continued to train and level up. His body underwent noticeable changes as he grew taller and more muscular. While training, a nurse unexpectedly entered the room and was impressed by his physique. Jinwoo began to realize that the secret to Saitama's strength from One Punch Man was indeed rigorous training. Upon being discharged from the hospital, Jinwoo returned home, astonishing his sister with his incredible transformation. As he reveled in his newfound abilities, a call from the landlord about rent brought him back to reality. For hunters, the fastest way to make money was by entering dungeons and gathering magic crystals to sell. Determined to earn more, Jinwoo decided to enter another dungeon, this time joining a S-rank team as a filler hunter. The Hunter Association had specific participation requirements for each dungeon rank, and those who didn't meet the criteria could only enter as filler hunters. Filler hunters didn't receive a share of the dungeon rewards. Instead, they earned a commission. Jinwoo took on the role of a filler hunter, entering a C-rank dungeon and effortlessly made money without engaging in combat. However, his easygoing expedition took an unexpected turn when a shining figure appeared, a fellow filler hunter named Yu Jinho. Although Yu Jinho was only a C rank, he wore expensive equipment. Surprisingly, this rich second-generation individual was warm and friendly. Seeing that Sung Jinwoo was only a C rank, Yu Jinho patted him on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry, I'll protect you." Jinwoo couldn't help but feel a mixture of curiosity and gratitude toward this newfound acquaintance, as they embarked on their dungeon adventure together. As everyone entered the dungeon, the rest of the team took charge of fighting monsters, while Sung Jin-woo assumed the role of carrying supplies, following closely behind. The darkness of the dungeon prompted them to light torches to illuminate their path. Suddenly, a swarm of insects and magical beasts descended from the sky, posing a significant threat. However, the attack team swiftly coordinated their assault, quickly resolving the situation. Jin-woo couldn't help but sense that the team leader, Hwang Dong-suk, was giving him and Yoo Jin-ho, the fellow filler hunter, an ill-intentioned look, as if they were dead weight. As they approached the chamber of the dungeon's boss, Hwang Dong-suk unexpectedly left Jin-woo and Yoo Jin-ho behind to guard the entrance, claiming that he needed to retrieve tools for mining magic crystals. However, this turned out to be a treacherous betrayal. The team leader and his group were part of the Lizards, a slang term for hunters who abused their powers to commit crimes inside dungeons. The dark deeds that occurred within dungeons rarely went public, as there were no security cameras to record events, making it easy to commit murder or robbery without leaving behind concrete evidence. In this case, they not only aimed to monopolize the magic crystals, but also planned to kill Yoo Jin-ho, whose valuable equipment alone was worth more than the dungeon's rewards. The explosion triggered by the team leader sealed the entrance of the boss's lair with fallen rocks. Jin-woo realized they had been betrayed and that their lives were now in grave danger. As the final boss, a giant spider, awakened and approached them, Yoo Jin-ho, though afraid, stood bravely in front of Sung Jin-woo, earning his respect. Jin-woo calmly took off his backpack, his face showing no emotion. Compared to the stone statue, this spider was nothing. He stepped forward, took out the purified venom from his system, and prepared to start his solo fight. Sung Jin-woo launched an attack against the spider, dealing massive damage. The spider's thick skin and flesh seemed undamaged, but Jin-woo's intention was not to cause injury. Instead, he aimed to inflict short bursts of pain, causing blood loss and paralysis. As Jin-woo continued his flashy solo attack, Yoo Jin-ho, a D-rank hunter, watched in astonishment. He had initially thought that Sung Jin-woo was an E-rank hunter in need of protection, but now he felt deceived by this seemingly innocent-looking guy. Surprising Yoo Jin-ho, Jin-woo activated his new skill, Sprint, increasing his speed by 30%. He rushed toward the spider, taking advantage of his newfound swiftness. However, his stamina was significantly depleted, and he was counterattacked by the boss. In this critical moment, Jin-woo remembered that he had a reward from his daily tasks, which could fully restore his status. Without hesitation, he used it, reviving on the spot with full health. He struck the spider again. In an instant, he drove the purified venom into the spider's eye, triggering paralysis. Then, mercilessly, he slashed the spider to death. Sung Jin-woo leveled up 3 times, leaving Yoo Jin-ho, who watched his solo performance, sweating profusely. He couldn't help but wonder if such a strong person could really be an E-rank hunter, or if Jin-woo was a cheater, a term for those who hid their true levels and specialized in killing hunters in low-level dungeons. Yoo Jin-ho quickly grasped the gravity of the situation and picked up the baggage they had left behind. He addressed Jin-woo, saying, "Brother, you've worked hard. You thirsty? Please drink some water, and don't kill me." At this moment, the entrance to the boss chamber was blasted open. The previous attackers returned, only to be shocked by the unexpected outcome. They had believed that only Yoo Jin-ho could have the strength to defeat the boss. Now, they faced a dilemma. They could either join forces with Yoo Jin-ho or eliminate him. Faced with a life-or-death decision, Yoo Jin-ho resolutely chose to stand with Sung Jin-woo against the attackers. In this critical moment, Jin-woo's system issued an emergency mission to eliminate enemies with murderous intent towards players in the vicinity. Failure to comply would result in his heart stopping. While still in shock, a fireball was launched at Jin-woo, but he miraculously survived the blast. In a world where the strong preyed on the weak, Jin-woo understood that only by becoming powerful could he protect himself. The system seemed to force him to commit murder, but was it solely for the system's needs, or did they both use each other? Jin-woo slowly stood up and stared at everyone, asking, "Hunters, prepared to be hunted?" In an instant, Jin-woo dispatched all the enemies, leaving only the trembling team leader, Hwang Dong-suk. However, Hwang Dong-suk, being a leader, attempted to play his trump card, threatened Jin-woo, saying, "Do you know who my brother is?" Unbeknownst to him, Jin-woo no longer cared. With a single slash, Jin-woo cut off the team leader's head, earning a reward that allowed him to recover his status, gain an additional skill point, and acquire the skill Bloodlust, which could reduce the abilities of a designated enemy by 50% within a minute. Following these dramatic events, Jin-woo had already caught the attention of the Hunter Association. After all, it was quite unusual for the 2 weakest members to not only survive, but also defeat the boss in a S-rank dungeon. At this time, Jin-woo was at home with his sister, enjoying beer and fried chicken. Thanks to his system, Jin Woo was automatically immune to any toxins, including alcohol. With newfound boldness, Sung Jin Woo decided to use the dungeon item he had obtained during his previous venture. This item had the ability to reduce physical damage taken, but came with some negative side effects. However, thanks to the help of the system, the negative side effects were automatically removed without any problems. At this moment, Yu Jin-ho approached Jin Woo, revealing his true identity as the son of a top-tier company's owner. He offered to pay Jin Woo handsomely to help him clear 20 dungeons. With 20 dungeon victories under their belt, Yu Jin-ho and Jin Woo would start their own guild, proving themselves to Yu Jin-ho's father. Being an unordinary person, Jin Woo was overwhelmed by the offer, but agreed on the condition that only the two of them could participate in the dungeon raids. As they discussed the details, Hwang Dong-soo, the brother of Hwang Dong-suk, whom Jin Woo had killed earlier, learned of his brother's death and decided to seek revenge. Leaving the guild suddenly would cause it to collapse, so Hwang Dong-soo planned his revenge for 2 weeks later. The next day, Sung Jin Woo had a sudden idea to complete extra daily tasks, earning a key to enter a demon dungeon. He used the S-rank dungeon key and prepared to solo the dungeon once again. Upon entering, he encountered a massive 3-headed dog. As the giant wolf charged at him, Jin Woo activated his title, Wolf Slayer, which increased all his abilities by 40% when dealing with beast-type monsters. He used the sprint skill to launch several attacks, and then activated the Bloodlust skill. However, due to the high resistance of the Firewolf, his attacks were ineffective, and his own health kept dropping. At the critical moment, Sung Jin Woo used the system's reward to restore his condition and successfully counterattacked, obtaining various valuable loot items. Among his loot, he gained an agility and perception-enhancing necklace, a key to the Demon Castle's gate, and the fangs of the 3-headed dog. Even the Hell Gatekeeper, Cerberus, proved to be incredibly powerful. Although Jin Woo leveled up 4 times, he realized that his strength was still not enough. Opening the gate now would be like giving his life away, so he decisively exited the dungeon, planning to grow stronger before returning. A few days later, Sung Jin Woo was called by the Hunters Association to complete a special task. The participants in this mission were all survivors of the previous dungeon raid. Additionally, there was a B-rank hunter from the Inspection Division leading a group of criminals with hunter abilities to complete the dungeon together. The participation of criminals offered a unique opportunity for those with hunter abilities to redeem themselves and reduce their sentences. Upon seeing the purple-haired hunter from the Inspection Division, Sung Jin Woo advised his friend Ju-hee not to join. However, upon hearing that Jin Woo was participating, Ju-hee firmly decided to follow. With a flash of blue light, everyone entered the dungeon, embarking on another challenging and perilous adventure. As the group ventured deeper into the dungeon, they encountered a group of green goblins rushing towards them. However, both the prisoners and hunters easily took care of the goblins. Further into the dungeon, they came across 3 paths, and Taishik suggested splitting up to reduce the time spent fighting monsters. He took the prisoners on one path, while Sung Jin Woo, Mr. Song, and Ju-hee took another. Mr. Kim and another person took the third path. Sung Jin Woo used his perception to choose the path that led to the ultimate boss, knowing that fighting the boss would yield more experience than battling smaller monsters. However, Jin Woo couldn't help but be concerned about Taishik from the inspection department. After the group of criminals dispatched a group of green demons, Taishik surprisingly started killing the criminals himself. Turned out that Taishik was the true cheater, having accepted bribes before entering the dungeon. As Taishik killed the last person, Mr. Kim and another hunter stumbled upon the scene. He realized that the paths were connected, and Taishik eliminated the last criminal before turning to attack the 2 witnesses. Hearing a scream, Sung Jin Woo and the others sensed a strong killing intent, quickly headed back to check. As they approached the entrance, Jin Woo realized something was wrong and swiftly blocked an attack aimed at Ju-hee. Taishik was surprised that Jin Woo could block the attack, but remained confident regardless. Jin Woo noticed Mr. Kim's critical condition and asked Ju-hee to heal him. Unfortunately, due to excessive blood loss, even the S-rank healer couldn't save him, and Mr. Kim apologized to Jin Woo for leaving them behind while escaping previously because of the level gap. Mr. Song decided to engage in close combat and looked for an opportunity to use his skills. He picked up a sword and started attacking. However, the assassin was too fast, and Mr. Song was defeated. Just as Taishik was about to deliver the final blow, Mr. Song used his magic skill, causing an explosion. However, Taishik emerged unscathed from the smoke. Jin Woo once again intercepted Taishik's attack, enraging him. Taishik quickly deduced that Jin Woo must be a reawakened hunter, which meant he should be worth more money. He launched a more fierce attack, relying on his faster speed to constantly suppress Jin Woo's offense. As the fight between the two became more intense, Jin Woo's system could no longer hold back and issued a new quest: eliminate the target with murderous intent towards the player. Jinwoo smiled faintly, finally waiting for this opportunity that he couldn't waste. He immediately sprinted, activating a skill that increased his speed by 30% and catching Taishik off guard. However, Taishik was unaware that Jinwoo's weapon had a side effect, which triggered a blood loss paralysis effect, making him more confident in his victory. Unexpectedly, Taishik's level resistance was too high, granting him immunity to Jinwoo's attacks. He instantly activated his invisibility skill, considering it a waste to use such a skill for fighting instead of doing more important things. Taking advantage of his invisibility, Taishik quickly disabled Jinwoo's leg and taunted him, asking if he could still move fast. However, Jinwoo had an ace up his sleeve. He used a system benefit to restore his condition, instantly regaining full health and energy. As they continued to fight, Jinwoo seemed to have found a way to counter Taishik's invisibility skill by sensing the opponent's murderous aura. Just as Taishik launched an attack, Sung Jinwoo instantly captured the aura and activated his counter skill, seizing the opportunity while the opponent was unable to move. Jinwoo finished Taishik off with a single strike. With Taishik's death, he dropped an item called Stealth, containing the invisibility cloak skill. The system also rewarded Jinwoo with 5 additional ability points. Jinwoo left the others behind since he couldn't let the opportunity go to waste and decided to solo another boss before leaving. With Jinwoo's newfound strength, even a D-rank boss was no match for him. As soon as he exited the dungeon, he encountered the chief of the monitoring division, questioning who killed Taishik. At this moment, Mr. Song stepped forward and claimed responsibility. The chief looked down on him, saying that a C-rank hunter couldn't possibly kill a B-rank hunter. Mr. Song pointed at Juhi, stating that his support was a B-rank healer, and they took Mr. Song away for further investigation. As the chief left, he gave Jinwoo a meaningful look, reminding him about the previous incident with Hwang Dong-suk's attack team. He warned that his brother, Hwang Dong-su, an S-rank hunter, might be targeting him. To avoid being threatened by an S-rank hunter, Jinwoo needed to increase his level quickly. Fortunately, he had signed a contract with Yu Jinho for 20 dungeon raids. The next day, they arrived at the agreed dungeon entrance, but the team members that Yu Jinho brought along were not very promising. Despite this, the duo entered the dungeon and emerged victorious in less than 15 minutes. As the portal closed, it confirmed that the boss had been defeated, marking another successful dungeon raid. They wasted no time and immediately headed towards the next dungeon. Their incredible clearing speed was so remarkable that it caught the attention of the White Tiger Guild's scout chief. Impressed by their prowess, the scout chief decided to approach them with a recruitment offer. Inside the dungeons, monsters cowered in fear at the sight of Sun Jinwoo, who tirelessly grinded for levels, eventually reaching an impressive level 39. He mastered advanced dagger techniques, honing his ability to strike vital points with precision and even attaining invisibility. As he familiarized himself with these new skills while continuing to level up, the system suddenly announced the start of a job advancement quest. At that very moment, the members of the White Tiger Guild arrived at the dungeon's portal, just as Sun Jinwoo and Yu Jinho were exiting. Sun Jinwoo wasted no time, immediately asking Yu Jinho to clear his schedule for the next day. Completing the job advancement quest and increasing his abilities became his top priority. As they exited the dungeon, the White Tiger Guild members quickly approached them for a private chat. Without beating around the bush, the chief directly offered to pay double the amount that Yu Jinho had been offering Sun Jinwoo. Surprised by their generous offer, Sun Jinwoo jokingly asked if they were willing to pay him 4 billion. To their astonishment, the guild members confirmed the amount. However, Sun Jinwoo revealed that Yu Jinho had given him a building worth 2 billion to secure his cooperation. Realizing they couldn't outbid Yu Jinho, the White Tiger Guild members reluctantly backed off. With that matter settled, Sun Jinwoo embarked on his job advancement quest. Entering the dungeon, he faced an army of formidable opponents, including armored soldiers, assassin soldiers, mage soldiers, and archer soldiers. The most challenging aspect of this dungeon was the prohibition on consuming any potions. Undaunted, our protagonist collected new sets of equipment and amassed a considerable fortune as he fought his way through the hordes of enemies, pushing forward towards the final boss chamber. As he pushed open the door to the boss chamber, an intense cold greeted him, setting the stage for the next thrilling chapter of his adventure. In front of Sun Jinwoo stood an empty throne, and from beneath it emerged a fearsome knight, radiating a terrifying aura. This formidable adversary was none other than the ultimate boss, Scarlet Egress, the leader of the knights, marked with a dark red nameplate signifying his horrifying power. Facing this daunting enemy, Sun Jinwoo had to devise a strategy. Egress wielded a massive sword, and he wasted no time launching an attack. With lightning reflexes, Sun Jinwoo dodged the initial strike, which shattered 2 stone pillars behind him. In contrast, his own attack merely left a few marks on Igris's armor. Realizing that his weapons were ineffective, Sun Jinwoo had no choice but to engage in hand-to-hand combat. Igris, sensing the change in tactics, lowered his weapon and removed his cape, displaying his admirable chivalry. With a battle cry, Igris charged at Sun Jinwoo, initiating a brutal fight. A single punch from Igris sent Sun Jinwoo crashing into a wall, leaving him stuck and struggling to get free. Despite Igris's lack of a weapon, his physical strength remained formidable. Sun Jinwoo knew he had to go all out. Summoning all his strength, Sun Jinwoo ran towards Igris, and the two engaged in an intense battle, exchanging powerful blows. Several times, Sun Jinwoo was sent flying, only to land near the empty throne. Igris, ever vigilant, immediately summoned his weapon and raised his sword to execute the intruder. To everyone's surprise, Sun Jinwoo caught the blade with his bare hands, thanks to the equipment he had obtained from the previous dungeons, protecting his hands from harm. Seizing this opportunity, he stabbed Igris's exposed eye with a short sword. Throughout the battle, Sun Jinwoo realized that Igris's only weak point was his exposed eyes. He used a new skill, a precise strike, and continuously attacked this vulnerable spot, eventually piercing Igris's head with his short sword. In the end, the formidable Igris was defeated by Sun Jinwoo. With the battle won, Sun Jinwoo proceeded to collect the loot, which included 4 valuable items: an S-rank Red Knight helmet that reduced damage by 15, and added 20 to both stamina and strength, a runestone dominator's touch, a hearthstone, and a leather pouch containing a staggering 1.5 million gold coins. Sun Jinwoo gathered everything with a satisfied smile, acknowledging that high risks indeed brought high rewards. However, as he looked around, Sun Jinwoo noticed that there was no return portal. He wondered if the quest was truly over. Igris's death hadn't prompted the end of the quest, leaving him to wonder if Igris had been nothing more than a minor enemy in a much larger adventure. What will happen next? Find out next time by staying tuned for our future recaps. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great recaps. At that pivotal moment, a portal materialized behind Sun Jinwoo, and the system announced that the job advancement quest had officially begun. This particular quest was unlike any other, as it lacked a specific target to eliminate. Instead, it demanded that the player survive for as long as possible, with a higher survival duration equating to a higher score and an increased likelihood of obtaining a rare job class. From the portal emerged a massive number of armored soldiers, causing Sun Jinwoo to ponder his strategy. He thought aloud, "Let's see if I can outlast you." Initially planning to employ stealth to buy time, his intentions were quickly foiled as a mage used a detection spell to reveal his presence. The soldiers wasted no time and descended upon him. Sun Jinwoo deftly dodged their attacks and activated his bloodlust, a skill with a mere minute of effectiveness. He seized this brief moment to eliminate as many enemies as possible. Despite his full range of abilities, he struggled to keep up, feeling like he was mowing down an unending field of relentless foes. Surprisingly, only 5 minutes had passed. It felt like an eternity. Sun Jinwoo realized he had never experienced time moving so slowly. As Sun Jinwoo continued battling within the sea of enemies, his health bar gradually dwindled. He contemplated using the return portal, but was knocked away from it by a powerful strike. Memories of his past struggles as a weakling flooded back. He resolved not to let it end like this. Rising to his feet, he charged back into the fray. Unfortunately, he was once again knocked down. Just as a soldier was about to deliver the final blow, Sun Jinwoo disappeared. In an instant, Sun Jinwoo found himself in a familiar desert. He recognized the place as the penalty zone, a consequence for failing to complete his daily mission. However, this time the penalty turned out to be a substantial reward, not only escaping death, but also leveling up by slaying monsters in the penalty zone. With 4 hours at his disposal, Jinwoo opened the system store, purchased supplies, and faced the desert's monsters with excitement. 4 hours later, now at level 51, he refilled his health and prepared to return with 3 minutes left on the clock. As a precaution, he secured a Night Slayer dagger from the store, tying it to his hand with a bandage to prevent it from being knocked away. Additionally, he acquired a new skill called Dominator's Touch, which didn't require mana and allowed him to control objects without physical contact. As the time approached for the penalty mission to conclude, Jinwoo officially returned to the dungeon. Due to the accumulation of 4 hours, the number of armored soldiers in the dungeon had reached a terrifying level. However, they proved no match for the now level 51 Sun Jinwoo. As he continually dispatched the armored soldiers, he he began to notice something peculiar unfolding around him. Sun Jin-woo quickly realized that the so-called soldiers in the dungeon didn't yield any experience points. It became evident that these soldiers were being summoned by 5 hidden summoner mages. This revelation significantly altered the situation. It took considerable effort, but Sun Jin-woo eventually managed to defeat all 5 summoner mages, surviving for 4.5 hours and eliminating the source of the endless soldiers. With the summoner mages vanquished, the system began analyzing Jin Wu's achievements. He had invested heavily in his stats, focusing on strength and agility, which typically indicated a path toward becoming either a warrior or an assassin. However, the system had different plans in store for him. It determined that his insatiable thirst for power was sufficient to summon the wandering undead from Death Valley. These undead, loyal only to him, would serve as his necromancer minions. Accepting this new job class, Sun Jin Wu's bonus points were calculated for his various achievements, which included eliminating all enemies, maintaining over 50% health using a return stone, and surpassing achievement points thresholds. To his surprise, the system notified him that he had triggered a superior job change reward. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. Who is the drippiest character in Manhwa? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now, back to the recap. In a moment of profound transformation, Sun Jin-woo ascended from a necromancer to a shadow monarch. The abilities of a shadow monarch were even more formidable. He could extract mana from a deceased target, converting them into his shadow soldiers, which could be summoned or reabsorbed at will. Prompted by the system, Jin-woo set the command word for his new skill. Upon his command, countless shadow soldiers emerged from the fallen armor, creating an overwhelming presence that astonished even Jin-woo himself. The strength of a shadow soldier was directly proportional to the target's power in life. This newfound power allowed Jin-woo to summon an army of shadow soldiers, each potentially formidable in its own right. He turned his attention to Igris, who had previously given him a fierce fight. Jin-woo contemplated the possibility of summoning Igris as one of his shadow lieutenants, offering him additional protection. After 2 failed attempts, Jin-woo had only one more chance. Employing his best tactics, he combined persuasion and deception. Finally, Igris, once a formidable adversary, became Jin Wu's first night-level shadow lieutenant. As Igris assumed his role, the other shadow soldiers immediately knelt before Jin-woo. Though no words were exchanged, the unspoken understanding was clear. Sun Jin-woo now grasped that he was no longer alone. With his legion of shadows at his command, he wielded the power of a formidable army. After returning home, Sun Jin-woo was peacefully sleeping when his phone abruptly woke him up. It turned out that his sister, Jin-ah, had a parent-teacher conference at her school. Sun Jin-woo hastily got dressed and headed to the school. To his surprise, the teacher didn't want to discuss Jin-ah, but rather her best friend, Han Song-yi. It appeared that Han Song-yi had been identified as an awakened individual, had been skipping classes to pursue a career as a hunter. The teacher implored Sun Jin-woo to persuade Han Song-yi to focus on her studies and not prematurely enter the dangerous world of hunters. Upon learning that Han Song-yi's awakened level was only E rank, Sun Jin-woo decided to take it upon himself to show her the harsh reality of the hunter's world. Meanwhile, at a nearby airport, Hwang Dong-soo returned as a top-ranked hunter, showing no respect to the monitoring department's chief, Woo Jin-chul. Hwang Dong-soo's sole purpose was to investigate Jin-woo, the person he held responsible for his brother's death. On the other hand, Sun Jin-woo took Han Song-yi to the White Tiger Guild's training dungeon for new recruits. Their plan was to blend into the team and observe the battle. The attack team for this C-rank dungeon consisted of an A-rank hunter, 2 B ranks, and 4 C-rank hunters, led by the A-rank named Kim Chul. As soon as Han Song-yi entered the dungeon, portal suddenly changed to red, causing the chief to contact the White Tiger Guild's president, an S-rank hunter named Bak Yun-ho. Inside the dungeon, Sun Jin-woo noticed 2 arrows flying toward them from an unknown location. He swiftly intercepted one arrow, aimed at Han Song-yi, but the other hit one of their team members. Everyone turned their attention to the direction from which the arrows had come and spotted an ice elf outside the dungeon. Bak Yun-ho arrived and began examining the dungeon's fluctuations. He speculated that the dungeon was at least of A rank or possibly even higher, posing significant danger to those inside. Within the dungeon, the ice elf taunted Sun Jin-woo with a sinister smile before vanishing. Back in the dungeon, Kim Chul, confident in his A rank status, decided to kick out all the weaker members from the team. 2 groups went their separate ways, with Kim Chul and his team taking one route, while Sun Jin-woo and the others ventured deeper into the forest. Here they encountered white bears, which were easier to deal with compared to the cunning ice elves. Suddenly, a white bear appeared, sending fear through the group. Sun Jin-woo stepped forward with a powerful punch, knocked the bear's head to the side, stunning everyone with his astonishing strength. In response to their astonishment, he simply said, "Don't ask any questions, just follow me and I'll show you the way." The remaining members happily gathered around a bonfire, sharing a meal of bear meat. Sun Jin-woo eventually led the group to the White Bear's cave and began to solo wipe out the threats they encountered. Confronted by a group of white bears, Sun Jin-woo wasted no time and asked if his companions needed assistance. Without hesitation, he summoned his shadow army, sparking a fierce battle between the two sides. Initially, there was no clear winner, but as time passed, victory began to tilt in Sun Jin-Wu's favor. The White Bears, mere flesh and blood, were no match for the immortal Shadow Army, which constantly regenerated. What had started as a chaotic skirmish slowly turned into a one-sided massacre. Realizing the dire situation, the White Bear King couldn't bear it any longer and yelled, "Enough already! Just take these 2 soldiers and be done with it!" He attempted to slap a shadow soldier but refrained, as attacking the king would be considered disrespectful. Igris, the powerful Shadow Knight wielding a giant sword, appeared and charged towards the White Bear King. In less than 5 rounds, the White Bear King met his demise, his head severed. Igris presented the bear's head to his king, Sun Jin-woo, who patted his shoulder, acknowledging his efforts. Seeing the countless dead bodies, Sun Jin-woo wasted no time and summoned the White Bear King by uttering the command word. The ferocious White Bear King was now transformed into a shadow soldier. Meanwhile, Kim Chul's team encountered a Yeti and then an ice monster, facing one challenge after another. It appeared that the dungeon considered Kim Chul's A-rank team weak, making it easy to manipulate them. In an instant, Kim Chul found himself alone and ran for his life. After running for a while, he stumbled upon Jin-Wu's group, and his frustration mounted upon realizing they were not only alive but also well supplied. Kim Chul contemplated stealing their supplies when Sun Jin-woo swiftly slapped him, knocking him down. Just then, the ultimate boss of the dungeon, the Ice Elves King, arrived with his minions, mocking Jin-Wu's group for their apparent weakness. Sun Jin-woo, undeterred, challenged the Ice King, asserting that he would show him who was the boss. To his surprise, Jin-woo discovered that he could understand the language of monsters, possibly due to his system. Before the Ice King could introduce himself, Jin-woo dispatched the Ice Elf with a single strike, warning the king not to underestimate him. The Ice King, smirking, asked an absurd question about why Jin-woo was with humans, and ordered him to kill his teammates if he wanted to stay alive. Jin-woo couldn't help but wonder why the Ice King didn't consider him as human. However, he retorted, threatening to defeat the king as well. Without further conversation, Jin-woo summoned his shadow army, and both sides engaged in a fierce battle. Jin-woo rushed towards the Ice King, intending to capture the leader first. However, after a brief clash, he was forced to retreat, realizing that he might not even win with Igris's help. Contemplating the need for a stronger shadow, Jin-woo glanced at Kim Chul and kicked a sword towards him. Kim Chul, who had woken up and remembered their earlier encounter, angrily swung his sword at Jin-woo. Facing attacks from both the Ice King and Kim Chul, Jin-woo remained calm and summoned Igris, who swiftly took down Kim Chul with a single strike. Jin-woo then summoned Kim Chul as a shadow soldier and named him Iron. Iron immediately taunted the Ice King, provoking him further. The 3 of them worked together relentlessly, delivering a barrage of attacks that eventually overwhelmed the Ice King. With their combined efforts, they managed to defeat the Ice King, and Jin-woo delivered the finishing blow, completing the dungeon. With the dungeon master eliminated, their levels increased. Just as Jin-woo was about to catch his breath, Iron suddenly went berserk, whipping the Ice King's corpse. Annoyed and exhausted, Jin-woo reprimanded him. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, Hwang Dong-soo learned that Jin-woo had entered a red dungeon. Believing that Jin-woo would surely meet his demise in the dungeon, Hwang Dong-soo decided to leave without further confrontation with Baek Yun-ho. After a few hours, Baek Yun-ho watched as low-rank hunters emerged from the dungeon. He wondered if his elite team had been wiped out. As Jin-woo was leaving, Baek Yun-ho approached him to inquire about the situation. Unfazed, Jin-woo explained that he had to leave and suggested that Baek Yun-ho ask the others for details. Rather than getting angry, Baek Yun-ho tried to recruit Jin-woo into the White Tiger Guild. Losing an A-rank hunter was a blow, but if they could recruit Jin-woo, the White Tiger Guild would undoubtedly become a top-tier guild. Reflecting on his encounter with the Ice Elves King, Jin-woo felt a hint of regret for failing to summon him 3 times. However, he was satisfied with the dagger he had obtained. The next day, Jin-woo looked at Yu Jin-ho's outfit with a helpless expression, acknowledging that it was indeed his style. Jin-woo and Yu Jin-ho drove off to pick up Han Song-yi, who was in need of medical attention. Yu Jin-ho overheard their conversation and was shocked, wondering if he was allowed to listen to this confidential information. He quickly reminded Jin-woo that Song-yi was still a minor. Paralyzed with fear, Yu Jin-ho watched as a group of shadow soldiers cleared the dungeon and gathered mana crystals. Realizing that his position was being taken over, he swiftly started collecting the crystals himself. Meanwhile, in an A-rank dungeon in the United States, a man resembling a homeless guy suddenly appeared. Due to the language barrier, he was mistaken for a monster and detained. Jin-woo completed the 20 dungeon runs with Yu Jinho, and they prepared to celebrate. After some drinks, Jin-woo remembered the key to the demon castle he had received from Cerberus. Considering his current level, he decided it was time to reclaim his territory. The next day, Jin-woo informed his sister that he wouldn't be back for a week and headed to the designated location to enter the demon castle. As the gates opened, the system presented him with a mission to collect 10,000 demon souls with tempting rewards. After accepting the mission, he entered the dungeon, greeted by scorching heat and a city engulfed in flames. The demon castle had 100 floors, and an entry permit was required for each floor. Given Jin-woo's current strength, he swiftly cleared the first floor. Considering the time constraint, he summoned his shadow army and initiated a sweeping assault. The homeless man introduced himself as Sung-il Hwan, and only S-rank hunter H. Hwang Dong-soo could communicate with him. During the interrogation, Hwang Dong-soo discovered that his son's name was Jin-woo. He smirked, but Sung-il Hwan sensed his ill intentions and gave him a sharp look, asking what he was looking at. A fierce battle ensued, and Hwang Dong-soo was sent to the ICU. With his incredible abilities, Jin-woo moved through the floors at an astonishing speed, collecting more than 2,500 demon souls. Finally, on the 50th floor, he encountered the first boss of the demon castle, Vulcan. Jin-woo commanded his army to attack while he turned invisible, attempting to finish Vulcan with a single strike. To his surprise, Vulcan proved incredibly agile and swiftly appeared in front of the Shadow Army. Despite its size, Vulcan was remarkably fast, and its attacks began obliterating the Shadow Army. Jin-woo realized that it was time for him to step in as the situation grew dire. He leaped forward and landed a powerful punch on Vulcan's face. With all his attribute points invested in strength, he never expected to send Vulcan flying with just one punch. Vulcan slowly stood up, glaring menacingly at Jin-woo. The system then notified him that Vulcan had activated its skill, Rage, increasing all attributes by 50%. In an instant, the massive body of Vulcan appeared in front of Jin-woo, wielding a 40-meter-long club about to strike him. With no time to dodge, Jin-woo quickly shouted, and Iron instantly understood his intentions. Iron raised his large shield with all his might, and Jin-woo caught the shield without looking back, hurriedly raising it to block the attack. As Vulcan's attack created an opening, Jin-woo leaped up, preparing to counterattack. Unexpectedly, Vulcan was also waiting for an opportunity, and Jin-woo was forced to use the Dominator's Touch skill in a desperate situation, narrowly escaping with the help of the repulsive force. Unable to fight Vulcan head-on, Jin-woo decided to outsmart it. He lured Vulcan to a dangerous building, using the structure to limit its movements. Then he delivered a powerful skyward slash, killing Vulcan. As a reward for his victory, he obtained 4 high-quality items, with the most useful one for enhancing his combat power being the A-rank item, the Orb of Avarice, which doubled magic damage. After defeating Vulcan, Jin-woo led his massive army, slaughtering demons along the way. In no time, they reached the 75th floor, where the boss, a lich, summoned countless zombies and skeletons from the ground, quickly forming an undead army. Iron and Egress took the lead, and the shadow soldiers closely followed behind. Impressed by their ferocity, the lich exclaimed in fear. Jin-woo immediately struck him down, sitting on the demon's remains. Jin-woo admired the strength of the lich's ability to summon undead soldiers, so he wanted to turn it into a shadow soldier. Unfortunately, the demon's magic had been tainted and couldn't be extracted as a shadow soldier, which was a pity. Jin-woo then checked the rewards, finding a necklace belonging to the Demon King, an S-rank accessory that increased agility and intelligence by 20 points each. It could also be linked with earrings to unlock the first set effect, which increased all attribute points by 5. Although Jin-woo wanted to continue conquering the demon castle to complete the set, he didn't have the energy to go any further. At that moment, the system notified him that he had completed the first stage of the mission to collect 10,000 demon souls and receive the system rewards. The rewards included blueprints for the Elixir of Life, 20 attribute points, and a key with unknown properties. The Elixir of Life, an S-rank item, could heal all diseases, which meant Jin-woo's mother no longer needed to stay bedridden. Crafting the Elixir of Life required 3 items: fragments of the World Tree, water from the Echoing Spring, and the purified blood of the Demon King. Jin-woo already had the first 2 items from previous boss drops, and the last one had to be obtained from the Demon Castle's ultimate boss. To quickly level up, Jin-woo needed to find an opportunity to challenge the Demon Castle again. Sitting by his mother's bedside, Jin-woo clenched his fists, determined to increase his hunter rank to make things easier. He headed to the Hunter Association to undergo a re-evaluation of his rank. Placing his hand on the crystal ball, a surge of powerful energy enveloped the area. The tester was puzzled because the ball showed an error. However, the supervisor quickly realized something was wrong and broke out in a cold sweat, calling for a higher supervisor. The error wasn't due to a malfunction. It was because the crystal ball's capacity was maxed out. It couldn't measure Jin Woo's rank. This revelation meant that Jin Woo was the 10th S-rank hunter in the country. Upon hearing this news, the 5 major guilds were all shocked and scrambled to recruit him. First, the Hunter Guild president, Choi Jong-in, approached Jin Woo, boasting about being the only guild in the country with 2 S-rank hunters and being the strongest in power. Known as the pinnacle of fire mages, he was called the ultimate hunter. However, Jin Woo showed no interest and declined the offer. Bayek Yun-ho, the White Tiger Guild leader, rushed to meet Jin Woo, possibly using a magical beast to travel faster. By the time he arrived, though, Jin Woo had already left. When Jin Woo returned to the hospital, the third influential force, the Hunter Association, which managed all the guilds, extended an olive branch to him. The association president, Go Gun-hee, personally met with Jin Woo. Despite various temptations, Jin Woo still chose to decline the invitation from the Hunter Association. His reason was simple. He wanted to focus on battling and leveling up to become stronger, and the Hunter Association didn't participate in dungeon raids. After rejecting offers from various factions, Jin Woo disguised himself as a miner and infiltrated the Hunter Guild's mining team. His goal was to familiarize himself with high-level dungeons for future solo runs. Before entering the dungeon, he encountered the second-in-command S-rank hunter of the Hunter Guild, Cha Hai-in. Jin Woo sensed her powerful magic aura, even surpassing Choi Jong-in's. Cha Hai-in's keen senses nearly detected Jin Woo in the crowd. He quickly concealed his presence. As a miner, Jin Woo began cleaning up tasks like mining and transporting monster corpses. During the lunch break, he sneaked into the boss room for his true purpose, only to find an undefeated boss. Just as he considered taking it down, a female voice asked him what he was doing there. Turning around, he saw Cha Hai-in, wondering how she had returned so quickly. Jin Woo hurriedly explained that he got lost. She let him go without suspicion. However, as he tried to slip away, Cha Hai-in suddenly felt something was off and stopped Jin Woo. She possessed an exceptional sense of smell, allowing her to detect the odor of every hunter. Surprisingly, Jin Woo's scent was pleasant, arousing her suspicion. However, after checking his ID badge, she dismissed her doubts. Before leaving the mining team, the team leader, impressed with Jin Woo's work, gave him double pay and invited him to return the next day. That night, Cha Hai-in made a phone call to investigate Jin Woo, but received information classified as top secret. Disappointed, she lied in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep while thinking about him. The next day, Jin Woo continued his disguise as a miner, volunteering to join a mage group that needed a strong porter. This time, they raided an A-rank dungeon with the Hunter Guild's second force team, consisting of 11 A-rank and 6 B-rank hunters, all well-equipped. Before setting out, Jin Woo had an ominous feeling that proved correct when they encountered a wolf pack attack upon entering the dungeon. Formidable Hunter Guild quickly organized and effortlessly eliminated the wolves. During the cleanup, they were surprised to find collars on the wolves, indicating someone had trained them. As the saying goes, if you want to hit a dog, watch the owner first. Jin Woo's premonition seemed accurate as high orcs emerged from the shadows. Without waiting for the hunters to react, the high orcs roared and engaged them in a fierce battle. The giant orc was as powerful as an A-rank hunter, and facing 22 high orcs, the raiding team was clearly outmatched. At a critical moment, Jin Woo dropped his backpack and activated his stealth skill to secretly help the others deal with the high orcs. Although the raiding team managed to defeat the first wave of enemies with Jin Woo's assistance, they realized they weren't strong enough to conquer this dungeon and decided to retreat. However, as they approached the entrance, a purple barrier suddenly blocked their path, sealing off the exit. The mages were unable to break the barrier, and 50 more high orcs appeared from behind. Instead of attacking, they invited the team to meet their boss, knowing they were no match for the high orcs. Reluctantly, the team leader agreed. The team arrived at the orcs' stronghold, where giant orcs stood proudly with countless orc armies on both sides of the throne. On the throne sat 4 orc generals guarding the orc Grand Wizard in the center. The Grand Wizard, sitting arrogantly on the throne, revealed the purpose of the team's arrival. Team leader Sun Ki-hoon realized that they were merely entertainment for the orcs, not real opponents. He decided to make a desperate move and rush towards the boss. He didn't even get a chance to get close before he was thrown around like a ball. Seeing their leader in such a state, the rest of the team was terrified. At that moment, Sun Ki-hoon suddenly disappeared, and Jin Woo rescued him, asking if he could kill the monsters here. With permission granted, Jin Woo stood up, stating it was his first encounter with such a powerful aura, but a pity they were facing him. In the next second, his shadow army descended, their terrifying presence paralyzing the raiding team members with fear. Jin Woo didn't speak and activated his new skill, Shadow Monarch's Domain, which increased the attributes of nearby shadow soldiers by 50%. The battle was about to begin, with Egress and Iron leading the charge. Despite being powerful enough to face 5 or 10 enemies at once, the strength of the Shadow Army lay in the fact that as long as Jin Woo had mana, they would be endless. Every defeated orc was summoned as a shadow, making the orc's numbers useless against him. The Grand Wizard finally took action, using a group skill to harvest shadow soldiers, intending to deplete Jin Woo's mana. However, Jin Woo easily replenished his mana with a potion. The Grand Wizard, seeing this, decided to face Jin Woo directly, only to be knocked down with a single punch. Meanwhile, sensing the powerful mana fluctuations outside the dungeon, the Hunters Association and Cha Hai In from the Hunters Guild rushed to provide support. They arrived at the dungeon, astonished not only by the vast number of shadow soldiers, but also by Jin Woo, fighting the boss on his own. The number of shadow soldiers he could summon far exceeded people's understanding, setting him apart from other summoners who could only summon 1 or 2 creatures. Jin Woo was on a completely different level. Before anyone else can react, Jin Woo has already defeated the powerful wizard, immediately extracting its shadow and naming it Tusk. For the first time, Jin Woo has extracted an elite, night-level shadow, leaving everyone speechless. As they watched the Grand Wizard rise again as a shadow, were convinced that Jin Woo was a monster. Jin Woo turns around to see a group of people watching him, and his face turns red. He realizes that he probably can't keep his abilities a secret any longer, and needs to think of a way to escape the situation. A representative from the Hunter Association immediately steps forward to act as the good guy, warning everyone and taking Jin Woo away. At this moment, Choi Jong-in hears his members report and learns that Jin Woo can summon powerful creatures. He decides to try to recruit him once again. Jin Woo arrives at the association to get his rank re-evaluated, but unexpectedly finds the place surrounded by reporters. It turns out that the big celebrity, Lee Min-sung, is also going to have his rank evaluated and become an A-rank hunter today. As Jin Woo is about to enter, he is stopped by bodyguards. At this moment, the Hunter Association president, Go Gun-hee, personally comes out to escort Jin Woo. Lee Min-sung, looking pale, angrily asks the bodyguards to check Jin Woo's background. As he prepares to enter the Hunter Association building, he is stopped by Chief Woo. No one is allowed inside before 11 a.m., and Chief Woo warns him not to cross the line. The 2 S-rank guild leaders, Baek Yoon-ho and Choi Jong-in, are already waiting for a chance to recruit Jin Woo as soon as he gets his S-rank hunter license. After the guild is established, the first person to join is, of course, the rich, second-generation Yu Jin-ho, who had previously teamed up with Jin Woo to clear dungeons. He entrusts all the miscellaneous tasks to Yu Jin-ho and focuses on his own missions. Jin Woo prepares to continue the unfinished Demon Castle dungeon. Before officially setting off, he leaves a few shadow soldiers to secretly protect his sister, just in case. With everything ready, Jin Woo starts his solo journey into the Demon Castle once more, where the difficulty has become even higher. His goal is to defeat the Demon King on the top floor of the Demon Tower, and the rewards are, of course, quite generous. As he enters the 76th floor, the Wizard Tusk wields the Orb of Avarice, greatly increasing his power. With a wave of his hand, a fire dragon shoots out, nearly piercing through the entire Demon Castle. To clear the dungeon faster, Jin Woo summons all of his shadow soldiers, dividing them into 6 groups, with each group acting independently, killing any enemy they encounter. As Jin Woo proceeds, amazing feats continuously appear above his head. He has developed his abilities to the extreme, making the whole process look like an automatic grind. He reaches the 80th floor when suddenly, a shadow squad starts dying at an alarming rate. Jin Woo rushes to the scene to see who or what could be killing his squad so quickly. He sees a pair of demon nobles and a demon knight easily defeating the shadow soldiers. Seeing this, he has no choice but to step in and destroy the demon knight with a single kick before any reinforcements can arrive. The demon knight's figure vanishes as it has entered stealth mode, reappearing behind Jin Woo with his weapon drawn. However, the demon knight is quickly eliminated. Jin Woo looks up at the remaining demon noble who is trembling with fear. He disarms the enemy's weapon and grabs his dagger, preparing to finish him off. Surprisingly, the demon noble suddenly surrenders, saying, "I surrender." Jin Woo is shocked that a monster can speak the human language. Upon removing the helmet and revealing the face beneath the mask, he sees a beautiful demon girl. She begs for her life, pleading not to be killed. Jin Woo contemplates whether attacking her would be against his character. However, as he looks away, the demon girl seizes the opportunity to launch a surprise attack, to be blocked by Tusk. Jin Woo glances at her and asks, "Well, what do you want?" She immediately falls to her knees, saying she'll do anything to spare her life. Jin Woo can't help but think she has no sense of honor. After some interrogation, Jin Woo discovers that from this floor onwards, the entry permits are held by the demon nobles. The demon girl in front of him, Aesel, is the eldest daughter of the Radiru family, ranked 10th among the top 10 demon families. In this dungeon, Jinwoo can't help but comment on their family's name, pointing out that Essel's quick surrender doesn't do their reputation any good. Jinwoo decides to take advantage of having a high-ranking NPC by his side and asks her some questions, like why the demon nobles are here and what their purpose is. However, Essel seems to be glitched, her eyes unfocused, and she can only utter words about killing humans for the sake of war. Jinwoo recalls similar words spoken by bosses he's encountered before, making him feel as if he's no longer human due to the system. He attempts to ask more questions, but Essel seems to be malfunctioning and faints. Fortunately, Jinwoo is there to protect her. As an S-rank hunter, he can't take advantage of others in need. In gratitude for Jinwoo's protection, Essel brings him to her family's home. Her demon father is dumbfounded to see his daughter return with a man, a typical reaction to a potential son-in-law. He senses the massive army of shadow soldiers lurking beneath Jinwoo. Jinwoo states that he will leave as soon as he gets the entry permit. The demon father hesitates but eventually agrees. Jinwoo, with a thought, places his hand on Essel's shoulder, wanting to borrow her guidance. Since Essel is a native, she should know the locations of the upper demon families. However, this move irritates the demon father for some reason, leaving Jinwoo confused by the strange reaction. Jinwoo acquires the entry permit and Essel's guidance. Seeing the hospitality of the Rediru family, Jinwoo feels a bit embarrassed and promises to make them the #1 demon family. With that, he begins a fast clearing mode, aiming to conquer a demon family every 10 minutes. As Jinwoo continues his conquest, Igris and the White Bear King reach their maximum level and request to be upgraded to the next stage. Seeing Igris as an elite knight, Jinwoo is confident that he's reached the S-rank hunter level and doesn't linger. Jinwoo proceeds with his strategy, swiftly clearing floors, and finally arrives at the 100th floor, where a huge dragon flies across the sky and lands on the castle wall. It's the Demon King Baron. Baron, feeling the weight of Jinwoo's gaze, grew uneasy and suspicious. Perceiving himself as prey, he swiftly raised his colossal greatsword and unleashed a powerful skill, summoning a massive demon army that charged ferociously toward Jinwoo. Remarkably composed and confident, Jinwoo awaited their approach, biding his time. Suddenly, Jinwoo activated his domain of the monarch, and in an instant, his shadow army surged forth, swiftly dispatching numerous demons. Baron, his frustration mounting, let out a snarl and unleashed a devastating lightning attack that enveloped the entire area. Jinwoo, with impeccable timing and precision, evaded the attack successfully, but his robe had reached its limit in absorbing any further damage, leaving him vulnerable. Recognizing the opportunity, Baron wasted no time in launching another lightning assault. Jinwoo, battered and struggling amidst the rubble, desperately tried to evade yet again, but the relentless assault pushed his abilities to the brink. Emerging from the dust with his sword firmly gripped in one hand, Baron wasted no time and launched another formidable attack. What will happen next? Find out next time by staying tuned for our future recaps. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great recaps.